Hey there, everybody. This is Joy with Joy of the World here to take a peek into the world going on around you. Hey, I am back and I am cancer free. Hopefully that's good news to you as it is to me. So anyways, we're going to take a peek to what is going on in the flip in the dip. That has to do with that solstice line that goes on from June 21st to around December 21st. And if you'll notice in the sky, part of the year, the dipper is shaped like a cup and we're filling it up. We're filling it up. We're investing in. Maybe you're familiar with full moon and new moon energy. It's kind of like that, but it is on a grander scale, a 1 year scale. It's about whatever we put in coming back to us. Some call it the karmic release, but let's not focus on that. Let's just focus on the truth of our investment. Investment of what? Investment of love, because every breath you take, every step you make is going into this, and that's what we're going to see coming out. So let's see. Look, y'all, that's my little coral I found. 7 has to do with like the jawbone, the what is that thing called, boomerang, about what you put out coming around and coming back to you. This is effortless. It's about being intentional. It's about living intentionally. It's also, we might step into talking about the Taurus North Node that's been going around. It's called the Death Star, the life and death node going on, where Taurus is the head and Scorpio is the tail. 9 years ago, you can reflect back on what was going on around that time, and that is a larger segment of this issue. But here I have my carnelian heart sitting up here to find an opening and to ease. We've got our amethyst showing up, amethyst wand that I made, to ease and the gentleness of this, to slide on in like the whiz. And it seems that Tattoo Tarot, which my son gave me for a day, is shining on in here, and we had the devil. It's the returning of that Capricornian energy, which makes sense because that's where we're headed. We can shoot straight across, aim our focus for where we are going. So find your focus, everybody, and that's Capricorn begins at the winter solstice. So let's see what we have going on for our friends here. Oh, joy to the world. Hang on, it's going to be a fun ride. And we're stepping into plenitude is what I hear them saying. The rising up in ourselves and no longer having to press in against people or situations or things. It's allowing that energy to rise up in us because our focus is set on ourselves, on our goals, on our intentions. All right, so let's get a little bit more across the spread here. Oh, I see you. I want to take a peek and now I'm going to put it back. Some cosmic justice. I'll say yes to that. And it's about not having to fight. Here it's talking about holding your ground and letting spirit do the magic. What spirit? That energy that you've been moving in, the things that you've been releasing and removing from out of your way, the cobwebs, the scaries, the harem-scarums, like the Scooby-Doo eyes off in the background, the woo-wee-oo, and stepping into this beautiful vibration of love. Universe. The Chariot. Okay. So that has to do with this Cancerian energy of right now, coming in quickly, aligning and divining, trying to get on the same page with yourself, bypassing logic and stepping into the spirit, letting the spirit take the lead, and to bring yourself along in unison with yourself, because we're made to be in the center of ourselves. Now, if you grew up in America in the deep South like I did, you heard from birth on, don't be so self-centered. But let me tell you, if you're not in the center of self, you're going to be selfless or selfish. And you can think one is greater than the other, but they're not. They're equidistant. They're equidistant. So we are to get into the center of ourselves so that we have the fullness therein. And we're not having to live in these fractals or these things that shut us out or shut us in or lock us into things. We are able to have the spherical, eternal, infinite, divine. Okay? So let's see if there's another Tattoo Tarot that wants to come on in here, and then we're going to get a little color therapy on this. Okay, what we seem to be holding on to is a little bit of animosity, a little bit of angst, a little bit of fretting. Let's turn that into fortitude. Let's turn it into what's going on behind here. This is just a mask and a distraction. It's trying to block you and to weave you in, and we're just going to lift that up. Remember, these are energy sessions if you've been here before, and if you haven't, join us. Now, this is all per your permission. There's nothing I do against or for your will. I'm just sitting here presenting information that you can choose to select and reflect, okay? So behind here, we see the 4 points, the compass, the 4 angles, the midheaven, our midnight, our ascending and our descending. That's being able to bring us and hone us into the center of ourselves, into the bull's eye. There's that Taurus North Node. Okay, we're going to wait on these for a minute. So let's get an energy about the bullseye. I want to write that down, y'all. Thank you for your patience. And by the way, I love you. I'm so glad you stopped by here. At the bottom, we got enjoy clear hearing. We've been asking for clarity here. We've been seeking it because, you know, and it still came on out. Apparently, look, we're all ears. We are all ears. So let's take a moment. Let's do that. Let's clear out the ear chamber. Hey, it's resonating. Look at this. Look at this harmony going on here. Okay, so we're just going to clear out the dissonance. And we're going to call in the resonance of each individual self showing up here, but also into the universality of love, into the pure, perfect truth of oneself, into the center of oneself, into the love of life that life has for each one of us. There's enough room in the crayon box. So we clear out the old lies, we clear out the modern mindset, we clear out the generational hum and low end vibration going on, and we choose to call in the cosmic wave, the cosmic vibration, the ray of the pure blue, the deep blue, to come on in and to clear us out. And we thank you for doing it. Okay, it's that simple, really, y'all. When you begin to set that intention, like we were talking about in the beginning, you're giving permission for love to come find you. You're giving permission for love to enter in. It's like love is knocking when these epiphanies show up, when these revelations show up, and you're answering the door. Love may have the key to your heart, but love always knocks. It will not force nor make its way in. That's the most beautiful part about it. So here's a little bitty sneaky peek going on. It's talking about be prepared, satisfaction coming. And what is that? Satisfaction, this release of the excessive striving, of the arrogance, the imbalance, the foolishness, the failure, the languishing. And don't be fooled. Arrogance isn't always just this snotty up in the air. It could literally be throwing your head back, trying to gasp your last bits of air before you feel like you're drowning, okay? So it has to do with that languishing, that petering out, that tapering off, and coming in the fullness thereof. So that's just a little undercurrent of be prepared. Satisfaction's coming. Open up wide, y'all, and taste the beauty. Where? They're talking about inside of you. The self. I love how things get in harmony with themselves here, how we have the one chord, the progression coming in, and the furthering of oneself. Why? Because you're in the center of yourself, you can move in all directions. If you haven't seen Willy Wonka, there's a thing called the Wonkavator. It goes in any and every direction conceivable. And when we get in the center of ourself, we get in right relationship with ourself. We get into the ship, which some know as our chart or the wheel. Now here at Joy to the World, we understand that we are the whole zodiac. That's why you just follow the title, you follow your spirit, you follow yourself and your soul, and you go gain those messages that help lead and guide you, providing that confirmation that you need. For I am not the one. I'm just speaking out to allow you to see what's going on in the energy around you so that you can decide and choose and be affirmed and strengthened in your confidence. So it says the self, manas, receptive, integrity, abide, stillness. They're definitely hovering there. Stillness. Stillness precedes willingness. Maybe because when we calm ourselves, we can take in accurately what we are picking up on. Now, let me tell you one thing that I've learned. I've had a number of my senses shut off for an extended period of time through health issues and such. And during one such event where my eyes were sealed shut for several months, I began to recognize that what I thought was my own voice coming from within, maybe accusations or downcast, or maybe even enlightenment and things like that, I started to notice a number of things were just outside of my ear. It is a hole, it is a gateway, and whispering in, using my voice to see, would I choose it and allow it in? If those aren't things you want to see in your life anymore, recognize and dismiss, refuse, return to sender, because that's the neat thing. This 7 was also showing up that way, was also showing up backwards, and it's like return to sender. You have right of refusal. If you go to a buffet, do you put everything on your plate? No, you pick and choose according to what your delights and your desires are in that moment. There's so much I've learned in this last year of having gone through the channel of Cancer, is that there's nothing we're here to perfect. We are perfect. And each moment is pure and perfect. And it keeps out all fear because we're not weighing or on the accumulation or things to where they were then or going to be. It's where we are right now, the center of self. So anyways, in that stillness, in that calmness, in that stability and solidification, we begin to become clear about what is going on around us, what is positioning its suggestion to us, and curating what we want to have in our closet, in our tent, in our home of self. So the mob is tooting up. They're like, do, 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 like trumpets blasting. And hopefully that is resonating for some of you here. And they're talking about it's all coming together. Look how similar these are. It's all coming together. And I really hope it is for you, friend. That is my vote at this channel. I vote for you. I vote for me. I vote for us. I vote for love coming out on this planet. Why? Because love leads to joy. Joy is the individuation of how you receive love, of how you feel loved, of its expression in and through you. And your joy makes my joy lighter and fuller and brighter. Okay, so it says sitting on top of the world. And those relationships, when you come together, it brings in more. So as you abound, more comes in, the abundant life. So we're going to leave these resting over here with the color. Let's see if the color cards, nope. Hold on, let me feel it out. Okay, we're going to step into I don't remember what this tarot's called, but look at her. Hey, I have the Oracle by Catherine Wells, maybe. Anyways, forgive y'all. I'm still coming out, but hey, I'm coming. Let's see what we've got going on in some areas of, they were wanting to talk about travel, love, money, and career. First of all, we have the Hermit and the Four of Wands. They talk about, they're like, hold your horses. Hold your horses. There's still residue and remnant coming in for consideration to decide what puts you on top of the world. Your positioning collectively, relationally, and to oneself. To oneself, with oneself, for oneself. Identity. So they're splitting these out. The Hermit is now, that's this card, y'all. Okay? You are the light of the world. Thank you. I want to thank you for still being here. I want to thank you for believing even when you didn't believe, hoping when you couldn't hope, living when you didn't feel alive, when you felt crushed and maybe even destitute or desolate, left out, isolated. Those were things that somehow that heartbeat of life, that pulse, that rhythm is still rising up in you and coming forward. So my vote and encouragement is for you to look into this Chariot. Okay, to be, it's not so much cautious as it is, again, that word curate, curating what you're taking in, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're YouTubing, what you're musicking, some things there. That might be the refinement, the personal refinement that you're talking about here is what you're taking in and storing up into your heart is kind of what's going to be blaring out to the universe. Where you're taking these things in from the greater world around you and deciding what is pleasing to you or vibing with you at the time is also what you're broadcasting back out to the universe. You are their radio station, and therefore those messengers and angels and emanations and energies are going out and being activated according to what it is. So maybe take a closer listen. Maybe take a closer feel. I create playlists all the time. And then after a while, when certain things begin to tilt and shift and move in a slightly different direction, there are songs that start to rub me the wrong way, maybe because of what's being put in there, the way in which it's being expressed, that it's time to go. Was I wrong? No. Pure perfect moment, right? And that's a pure perfect moment to filter it out and go, thank you, goodbye. And so they're wanting us to take a peek at the bottom about that. Got a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. It's almost like showing up like a bubblegum machine, putting in a quarter and hoping to get out a prize. But dare I say you're the prize? Look at this. The whole world is hidden in your heart. You're curating your world. And they're talking about that 6-month instance, what you begin to draw in now and call in now. So maybe take some time to back it up, and then to rev it up, to listen in and to begin with feeling first before you go into what you're hearing. Go into your feelings and into your vibrations before you conjure up anything else, and tune into good feelings. Like, I haven't experienced a lot of victory in my life, but there's a certain team that I love, and I sincerely root and cheer for them. And when they've won multiple championships and things, I get really excited and start shouting and yelling and everything and celebrating the victory for the individuals who are participating in that team. Well, I've had that expression move through me. And so I'm choosing at this time to walk in victory by experiencing that sensation, allowing it to be recalled in my body and brought up. There's a scientific effect going on in your mind called the RAS, the reticular activating system. It is the thing that goes out to hunt down what you seem to be most tuned into. It doesn't say most excited about, happy about, most tuned into. Remember, see what you're focusing on. Set that intention of what you want to find. And that's where I've begun. Even at a time that I've been so devastated, I've lost so much and experienced a tremendous amount of grief, I'm looking back through my cards of sort in the deck to find out what does bring me joy. And when I can't figure out how to live all those things right now, because I still have some limitations that I'm facing in my physical body, so I just meditate on them. I take a couple of moments and I recall that feeling and I see myself in my mind's eye and I allow it to begin to work for me, knowing that there's coming a time that I will be able to be more active and be able to participate in the things that I enjoy. But for now, I'm conjuring up those feelings. And that's what this Two of Swords is talking about. Decide. And it's not so much which side do you stand on, just like the phases of the moon. Let me tell you, the moon is always whole. Even when it's not full, it is always whole. Let me get a sip. Because you know what? It is your world. That's what we're talking about here. It is your world. You don't have to choose your left or your right as the best, yesterday or tomorrow as the best. You can choose right now. You can choose and. You can choose and. You can choose, hey, I want to keep my left arm and my right arm because I like them. It's the full expression of yourself. It's not about not enough or more than enough. It's about being plenty, being whole, okay? So let's see. That's some of what's going on in the bullseye about getting into the center of yourself. We got the world spinning around right here. What is trying to come forward? The Emperor. But it's talking about imposter energy. Again, that more than enough or not enough type of energy, all the embellishment. And this isn't like personal expression coming on here. It's taking bits and baubles from the world around you, assimilated ideas of things that have been on your screen, on the lens of your mind's eye, on your frontal lobe. Maybe projections, maybe things that you sought, and now there's that bit of refinement. Is being able to separate yourself from those things and come into the truth and the beingness of who you are. Now, sincerely hope this is making sense to you. Sometimes if they don't, you might want to back up and listen through it again. There's no harm in that because there's more than just the freshness of it popping off like popcorn, getting you excited. It's the chewing of the information and digesting and seeing where it sits with you, okay? So now on that Emperor, this guidance here of that mindset of the world mind, let's see how we can break through that. Discover ourselves. I hear you. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot. I see the one that stopped it all, the Knight of Swords. It's like there's this bit of protection and a wall up and a defensiveness of like, not just not wanting people to see, but not wanting to see what people see when they see you. But the interesting thing is these two people are the same. They're one and the same. Your spirit is beautiful and trust in that. Trust in what is coming because the reason they wouldn't let me separate it is it's inseparable. This is your heart. This is your heart. Trust your heart. Trust your heart in the incoming of the love they're in. Okay, so let's see. Let's get some, let's step into a bit of the travel now. I want to put these away so that we can get some fresh information going on. And get these circled about. So we got the Hierophant coming on in, which is very much the Taurian energy. It's about reflecting on what you've learned, understand, and know, and not letting anything get in the way. Dialoguing with your wisdom, maybe journaling, jotting, and putting some things down. Why? So you can reflect on it. It doesn't have to be fancy schmancy. It does not have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a big old dictionary. It can just be some jots and tittles here and there, a little bullet point, a little something, but maybe even have it in a tiny, look at this, spiral bound notebook. Do you see how little that is? So that you can go back and reflect on the workings of your world and begin to move forward, breaking karmic cycles. Deep dive, y'all. Let me take a peek down here and see what is showing itself and what is occluded, what is not being seen. So we have the Two of Wands, again, coming back to that whole world, holding it in your hands. It's drawing near to the light of perfection, of seeing yourself clearly, because this is more than just a full moon sitting there. It's trusting that the mind, your mind's eye, can see the whole big picture, that you know where you're going, and it's trusting of what? The heart, okay? And what's going on underneath? The beauty. That's what's happening. That's amazing. I love that this is going together, because you are the sun. When you are in the center of yourself, you are the sun. You are shining, because our whole universe moves around the sun, right? Not around the earth. Okay? So then begin to see things the way they truly are. Let me get these cards moving away. We're going to get a little shuffle on this. So we got... Look at you. I think you're grabbing hold, because this Wheel of Fortune keeps popping up, moving in and moving ahead. Trucking. Hierophant and the Eight of Cups moving on. That's right. I love it. Ease on down the road. And some of you. Okay, so we're going to start with money. That's what we're going to start with the coinage. And then we'll float into career, because those two are kind of at times intrinsically tied. But it's wanting to find out what you're here for. A bit to do with your purpose and your ultimate self. Y'all, we got life coming on in here. It's the pod and for a minute. And about the order thereof. It's the 4 coming on in. That's okay. That's okay. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to work on with this. We got the Queen of Wands. But again, it's that solarness, that sunshine coming on in. Your divine self and your radiance. But I love that this Queen of Wands is talking about the seed. The seed is soon to come. The seed is sure to come. Okay? And it grows in the darkness. So do not have disdain towards where you have been. Let's look at what this career is talking about. I'm talking about playing your cards right. There's a bit of concern here. So the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Wands surrounded by the Hanged Man. Look at that. But the thing that I think you may not be recognizing is your beauty, your intrinsic beauty. All right. Now, beauty has more to do than just the external. It has to do with that solarness. It has to do with that radiance coming from within. Like anybody says, you put some good lighting on and you can change the way anyone appears, right? So it's seeing yourself in a good light. Okay. Giving yourself a chance. All right, so I see what's happening here. It's opening up the screen. Now, that's making me think of the movie that David Bowie is in called The Labyrinth, and they're trying to find their way through it, find their way through the maze, and moving through, and they're getting confused as to where forward and back and up and down and all that is. And he just simply stops, turns to the wall, looks directly through it, and it opens up, and he goes right into the heart, into the center. So what? Into the center of yourself. So stop turning tail. Remember how the rune had come in earlier talking about stillness. Face yourself. And what is that? That you're divine, you're beautiful, man or woman. Beauty is the fullness of oneself. That satisfaction that they were talking about coming on in, it all coming together. You got that right. They're talking about put your shoulders back, hold your head up, and get ready for a fine ride. So with that ear channel being cleared, ooh, let love in. Tulips. You see it? Tulips. Speak kindly of yourself. I'll tell you, the one thing that they gave me on going through cancer was to treat myself the way I want others to treat me. Now, I'd lived the other side of the adage for so long, treating others the way I wanted to be treated, and not doing it so they would treat me that way, just simply knowing how to love and how to live. But I didn't know that reflection in myself, like how to manage that, how to handle that, how to navigate that. These are both 5s. They're about choices. They're about change. It's about how the inside and the outside unify and come together to have that harmony, that consistency. Another word for consistency is integrity. So they're still wanting me to plot another tarot card on this. What is happening here? 3 of Wands, 9 of Swords, Knight of Swords. You have an abundance of glory, and there's no need to hide any longer. Yes, there's a bit of Leo in your chart, so you might want to go back and check out some Leo videos. They are timeless, even if they are dated. But it's talking about reading the writing on the wall. This is part of what you intended when you chose to come here to this planet, when you chose to inhabit yourself. And they're talking about buckle up, it's gonna be a ride. Ooh! You got all sorts of fun coming in. And it's almost like this is an epiphany, a new revelation to you. And it's getting the atoms and the molecules percolating in your mind. And it's creating action. It's creating the action potential. What I love is I don't see us as divine masculine and divine feminine, because which pants would I put on each day? It really has to do with our potential, which is our left side, and our actual, which is the right side, kind of like a battery, okay? And it's what creates the momentum moving around, so that we don't have to stay at rest or stay in motion. We allow the two to connect and to communicate. So that Page of Cups, that's an interesting dynamic for you to start to engage with and to engage in. Piscean energy showing up here. Pisces has been wanting to move out the Neptunian energy, which has to do with the clouds and the confusion, the shadows of doubt, shadow, self-destructive behavior, maybe inviting in the not so lovely mystery. And the destruction going on there. So hang on a second. I'm just going to walk away and come right on back. So pardon me. Yes. Welcome to my world. Anyways, so being able to create the action potential so that your life knows how to progress and move forward, and not for the sake of progression, for progress, but for the sake of enjoyment, for the sake of experiencing life. Not experience, but experiencing, okay? So the Page of Cups, it's about that Neptune is moving its way on out, and Jupiter is returning to the house of Pisces as the Lord and as the ruler, about the expansion therein, the clarity, the appetite and the quenching of it. I'm excited about that. You have a lot going on over here. So that's with the career specifically. So tell us a little bit more about career, and let's get the energy card for it. The color of how we invite in all that juicy, delicious energy. Awaken your empathy. Turquoise. This has to do with having compassion for yourself, being able to establish a trusting relationship with yourself. Start small. Start by delving into the little voice when it says, hey, I'm a little bit tired. Can we go to sleep right now? And you're like, I want to watch my show first. Who are you talking to? That's the shift from Neptune to Jupiter. And you start realizing and recognizing, oh, okay, that's my inner self. That is myself that's in the center of who I am. Why? Because it's in my best interest. If myself is telling me it's tired, it knows more than I do, and I shouldn't continue to be that driver. Remember the chariot, that the black horse, the logic mind, the yeses and nos, the offs and ons, the ones and zeros, that type of thing that goes into the squares and the quadrants. Very Metatron type energy, and getting into the essential quality of Sandalphon, of those little drops, those little decisions, the little drops in the water that do make a long-term effect. So it could be that, and it might be, oh, I don't want one more bite of food. I'm done. And we listen. It's about, oh, that person's rubbing me the wrong way. I need to step away from that. Or, you know what? I feel this closing out. I really do. And trusting your authority in that. And not just taking the helm and starting to make decisions, but realize that yourself, your spirit is coming alongside you. That's what your self is, okay? It's the inhabiting of the breath. So that's what this turquoise quality is coming about. And that's what they're talking about with career. Those little steps and those little shifts to be able to take you more in the direction where you don't just show up and all of a sudden you're shook getting there. Your confidence comes along, but your self-assurance is already there too. They're talking about the key in this is developing the trust in oneself. Now this had divided off earlier, so this is where we're going to start with here. I see somebody in the background. Health, conscious. Ooh, there's that balance coming in. All right. So it talks about utilizing and not being used. Getting in union with yourself. Having a relationship with yourself. I see you. Okay. So we got to move a little something out of the way of feeling like the not enough, or that there's more to do, or maybe you haven't done enough. They're saying step that aside, because what's really happening is moving on up, progress and increase. They said you've already set some things in motion, and being able to get on board with what you already know, what you have heard. Go back and reflect on those things a little bit. Maybe get around a body of water if that's something that you enjoy, either a bathtub or a shower or in a swimming pool or a lake. Get around a body of water and get in it if that's something you enjoy, but if not, use it as a reflection time. Because water causes things to speed up and to travel quickly and to move on to us. And it gets us in this plasma type energy here that even as we think that is more of an air quality. But they're talking about you're going in the right direction. You're moving on up. You've already set things in motion. Now they're just asking you to hop on board. It's kind of like cranking the car. They're saying get in and buckle up. Remember, that's what this Three of Wands was talking about. Not just your ships are coming in. You are the mighty sea, the vast ship. You are the one you've been waiting for. Okay, so let's find out a little bit about money. And that seems to be where the stretch, lengthen, and strengthen is coming about. It's about expanding your territory and maybe your mindset in regards to money and finances and how that sits. Now, I had never had a strong association with it because there were so many other things on my plate. And now it's been brought forward and I'm like, okay, well, money is currency. Energy is currency. And I've been having to operate in energy. And one thing that Spirit told me through everything I went through with cancer is wealth is health. Health is wealth. Now, wealth and riches are different things. Wealth is the fullness therein, the satisfaction, the yes, that the quest in your soul being met and quenched, satisfying, giving you that sweet sleep, that sweet repose, and waking up to spark the ignition of creativity again and again. But it has its rhythm, it has its meter, it has its pace. That's how you win the race. Okay, so we're going to get a color card for your money. Thank you. I see you. There seems to be a bit of a jumble, so we're going to explore that in just a second. But cherry. Okay. So I have an association with cherries. Cherries, when I do these intuitive channel drawings that come in, cherries always have to do with cheerfulness, cheeriness. It says live an extraordinary life. What life is that? An extraordinary life. And what is that? The little drips, the little drops, the little decisions. Remember that we were talking about over here, hearkening unto oneself, listening to oneself, because yourself will not lead nor steer you wrong. It's when we begin to try and master it and become the coach as opposed to the one being coached. All right. Now know that we are being taken into account. We're welcome to speak and to interact and engage with ourselves and to begin to question and to ask things and to explore, but also to trust. Okay. To trust. Now, here's the thing that kind of became a sticking point, brilliance. It's the flow. It's the beauty. It is the emanation. Discover your sparkle. Now, if you had an experience similar to myself and maybe many people that I've spoken with, is when we were younger, the thing that was sparkly or shiny about us, kind of like what's on the wall over here, were the things that often came under attack. And they were the things that we stuffed down and stowed away for some time. Some of us maybe even pruning it off or chopping it off, trying to get rid of it so that it wouldn't be noticed, meaning picked on, okay? Pointed out, maybe displayed in a audacious, garish light, and not in a way that we were in control of. But that's where we're at now. If you're here, you're over 18. We've been past some of that, and they're asking you to re-engage with this. And this isn't something to force or to push. It's something to allow, to permit, to say, okay, I'm willing to dialogue about this a little bit, to hear a little bit more about it, to begin to become familiar with what it feels like to be myself again, to be in the center of myself. And that is very much stirring up the mind's eye of this Five of Swords going on here, begins to do away with the old surface cracks, the plaster on the wall, and to get into the real self. No longer the one that we presented unto others, but who we really are. And what's sticking behind with that is the emerald. Calm your mind, body, and soul. Here's that clarity, but it has to do with clarity of mind. So let's get into the clarity of mind a little bit about our money here, clearing our mind on money and bringing it into a healthy, satisfying resonance, one that's in balance. Because remember, wealth and health, they're two sides of the same coin, and you need both sides in order for it to spin. Look at that. And they're saying spin as well. Remember how many times the wheel showed up? That's what this Ace of Coins is indicating here. And I love that it's resonating with this rose. It's resonating with your royalty, with your authority, with the utmost that you have explored in yourself. It has been, okay? In all facets, in the fullness. It has been growing along with you, even though it's been dismissed or stuffed down or put away. It is there. You are you are you. Okay, so let's get a little bit more about the money here. What are you telling us about money for our friends here at Joy of the World channel? How do we come into this? So we're talking about 3 of coins, putting yourself out there. Okay, trusting that the work has been done and that you're going to shine like a star. And that means don't undermine yourself, undersell yourself. As you're saying positive things, then backbiting and taking back your words, like biting off your own tongue, cutting off your nose to spite your face. Put it out there and let that shake, let the shook is what they're talking about. Let it happen and be like, whoo, because that's you staying in the center of yourself. And you're like, oh my gosh, do I sound like an ass saying that? Am I arrogant saying that? Remember, center of self has no arrogance. It just has place, and that place is you, and that's who you are, and it's trusting yourself that good things are going to come forward. And look, what is it reiterating? Knight of Coins, meaning you yourself hold your greatest treasure. Valuing yourself and being able to stay in yourself. Trust. Okay, let's clear these away. We're going to step into love and travel. And that's what they wanted to talk about for this next 6 months. So this is a 6-month energy, irregardless of when you show up for it, irregardless what the calendar says. This is you and yourself, your timing, your body knows right. It's always working as efficiently as possible to get you to the best place. Here, I do not believe in shortchanging. Now, life can show up with every form of shortcut necessary to help you get back on track in your journey in life, and to do away with the unnecessary and the void. Okay, so bringing in a little bit of runology, on some love and some travel. They seem to be wanting to do this as a duality. So maybe as you begin to get on the move, that it stirs up new energy, like fresh wind, fresh fire. Okay, that's all they're wanting to talk about over there. So we're just gonna, the moment you try and wrap it up, other things jump on board. And that's the thing, is once you become engaged with yourself in that divine relationship, things begin to draw to you. And that's why you've been practicing these energies of refinement, of reflection, of refusal. Remember, it doesn't have to go on your plate. That is your plate. It doesn't matter who you're sitting around or with. You don't need to be putting in your mouth and your 2 lips anything that you don't love, because what they're aiming for is the expression of joy. And that is showing up again. They're like, word up. Speak it. Okay. So, we've got a double backing energy going on here. I really like that for us. I really do, because I sit on the other side and listen to these as well. Why? To get to know myself, because when these are moving, this doesn't work as well. So I get to sit back and listen and hear the messages just like you guys do as well. It's important to me that I engage with the energies that are flowing through me. Okay. So we got those going here, but our energy first and foremost with the love and travel is gold, attract abundance. Now they want me to get into the depth of when you are in the center of yourself. Remember, you are your sun, your solarness. Well, that's the golden self. That's where your divine destiny, your divinity, your permission from oneself, and the red string of fate, where you came from and what you're attending, begin to merge together. And then they become a cord of 3 strands, which is not easily broken. And you begin to hear the harmony, the chord, the resonance, the beauty, the fullness therein. Now with that, we have the root. Oh, hello. Hello, forest for the trees. Okay, so Ruby has this backing going on here, which we'll explore in a minute. I love it because it tells me that that is the background, and these are coming into the foreground. I love that the mist, the sparkle, the sandalphon is coming up here, and the Metatron. It's talking about rhyme and reason. So when you just get in the flow, put the music on, just trust that all the facets of life are coming together for you, that you don't have to remember and recall and write it down and create the formula and perfect it and remember it and call it up and conjure it up and show how great and worthy and whatever you are. It's not that. You're plenty. They want you to flow. Remember the brilliance in the waterfall? To flow, to sparkle, to shine, to allow the light to strike you and to shine from within. And that's what's bringing in this blue, this 37, the perfect 10. Activate your healing power. The power of your heart, the lamed, the going through the eye of the needle, the camel. It's not about what all you lost. It is about where you are going. Where are you going when it's talking about travel here? So we have, hello. You're moving into the vibration of joy. Whatever makes you happy, do more of that. Travail is ended, fruit bearing, new energy, clarity, heaven on earth. It's not even just about where you're going. It seems to be that you're moving towards yourself, finding the center of yourself, and that's heaven coming towards you, to where the two engage and we become the 4D. No longer the separation of the 3D and the 5D. What is the 4D? It's the spirit, the inhabiting of oneself. So that's the travel and the love that they're talking about, is the journey to the center of yourself. Hey, I vote for it. I love you. Your joy makes me extremely joyful here at this channel. And anyways, leave comments down below. Drop by and say hi. If you haven't subscribed already,